Imagine a morning in District 12, a place where the air hangs heavy with coal dust, and every breath feels like a reminder of the poverty that suffocates you. There lived a girl with the weight of the world on her shoulders. Her name was Katniss. Her father was gone, leaving nothing but a piercing silence in their home. One afternoon, the rain fell so hard it soaked the already frozen ground. Katniss stood behind a bakery, her body trembling, her eyes hollow. She had given up. Hunger was no longer a pain in her stomach. It was a numbness in her soul. She only wanted to close her eyes and let the rain take her away. In that moment, under the gray sky, it wasn't just the cold that hurt. It was the shame of being seen in her weakest hour. Katniss didn't want a savior. She wanted to disappear. But through the blur of the rain, she saw him. Not a prince, not a hero, just a boy with a heart that hadn't been hardened by the coal dust yet. He didn't look away. He looked at her as if she was worth more than the scraps in the mud. The baker's son appears. But fate had other plans. Behind the warm glass window of the bakery, a pair of blue eyes watched her. Peeta Mellark. He was just a boy living among the scent of flour and yeast, but his heart was far wider than his father's shop. Peeta saw her. He saw her suffering. He knew his mother, a harsh and cold woman, would never allow him to feed a starving child. So Peeta did something that would never be forgotten in the history of District 12. He intentionally left 2 large loaves of bread in the oven too long. The smell of burning began to waft. His mother screamed in anger. A heavy blow landed on Peeta's face, leaving a red bruise that would turn blue in his eye. The smell of the burnt bread reached her before she could even touch it. It was the scent of life itself, warm and sweet, cutting through the bitter smell of wet earth. Peeta stood there, his own world crumbling under his mother's shadow, yet he chose to build a bridge for someone else. It was a silent rebellion, a small, warm act of war against a world that wanted them to stay cold and alone. the moment of salvation. With a face in pain and the burnt bread in his hands, Peeta stepped out into the rain. He didn't approach her, for he knew Katniss's pride was too high to accept blatant charity. So he threw both loaves onto the ground toward Katniss's feet. The bread was still steaming hot in the middle of the cold rain. To Katniss, it wasn't just food that saved her sister and mother's lives. It was proof that in a world this cruel, there is still kindness that asks for nothing in return. Peeta went back inside, bearing the pain on his face, but with a peaceful heart because he knew the girl he secretly loved would survive one more night. Reflection and peace. That night, under a leaking roof, Katniss ate that bread with tears mingled with gratitude. From that day on, every time she saw Peeta at school, she felt she owed him her life. And from that day on, for Peeta, loving Katniss was no longer a choice, but a devotion. Love doesn't always start with a kiss under the moonlight. Sometimes it starts with burnt bread, a bruised cheek, and the courage to care when everyone else chooses to be blind. Now let yourself absorb the warmth of this story. Imagine you are sitting there by the fireplace while the rain outside continues to fall, reminding us that hope always has a way of arriving just in time. The rain eventually slowed, but the memory of that bread remained. It was the first stitch in a story that neither of them knew was being written. For every act of kindness has a consequence, and some seeds of hope take a long time to bloom. Sleep now, or stay a while longer in this peace. For when the sun rises again, the winds of the arena will begin to blow, and their story will take us somewhere much colder.